What is up, everybody? Welcome back to our channel. If you're new here, please consider subscribing, hanging out with us for the entirety of the episode. You might even like what we have in store. You are, of course, hanging out with
the realest OG in the building right here. I go by the name Gidenji. And I'm chilling out with
the man himself, Aaron Mumuli. Naona ukiniambukiza hii tabia ya kujisifu. Alafu unajua it's automatic. Na tukipasiwa hiyo baton, you almost like, it's Aaron, wait a minute, new job.
But it's nice though. Because I by then nowadays nimejipata na nini tu like najiintroduce hivyo like naingia tu nikiwa kisek. But it helps because you just psych yourself up kidogo,
helps you to get into the rhythm
exactly,
and get in the flow.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how have you been?
I've been good. Happy New Year kwanza bana.
Ilikuwa tuvuke 2020. Ilikuwa tuvuke bana. 2024
2024 ndio hii.
Congratulations.
Hey, congrats.
Happy New Year pia.
Happy New Year manze.
Mwaka mpya imeanza na najua of course resolutions. Sijui manini tukuitisha documentation
okay. I think last time when tuliongea story, I don't know, mulini challenge kiasi but still that said
niliku challenge hapa ndio ulikuwa hapo unarusha ma challenge
okay like ulifanya nikaiangalia in a different light but still I haven't actually gotten to just work on those I'm write those things down, those resolutions down but yes I am planning to do that before the month ends.
Very good
but plus also like you pointed out it's you don't have to do it like 1st of January at you don't have to join the bandwagon and say like because everyone else is doing it, I have to do it now. So I was like, okay, I'll do them, but plus it doesn't have to be fast. It can be any time. Plus
it doesn't have to be at least.
Yes,
exactly. You already know what you need to do, so it's just.
Yes, and funny thing, I actually already know what I need to do, and some of those things I'm already doing them. It's just that I feel because I'm also like msinapenda just have something
jotting
down. Yes,
a couple of things.
Yeah. So I feel that I still need to like just have it down somewhere, and then as in at least it will be like very very clear in my head that what I need to do. So yes, wewe najua hauna resolutions.
Saskia vile uko umeenda vizuri.
Okay, let me scratch that. Let me rephrase that. Najua how you're not like most people, you didn't work on your resolutions this time because you already have those goals that
I already have the goals. Yes. So guys, just in case you don't know what we're talking about, it's a callback to about 3 episodes ago, I believe, when we're talking about productivity, something.
Yes, we also touched on it when we were talking about, I think, even goal setting
and goal setting as well. Yeah. Very true. Yeah. So feel free to just go back and watch. We have a bit of for me, what I was trying to say was yes, I already had things in play and I already had the vision of where I needed to be. So kwangu kwa akili, actually I know that these are the things I need to execute. So it's for me, it's more or less now trying to see how soon I can get to the next point to get closer to the objective that I have.
Makes sense.
But if I need to write, I'll write. It's just that I haven't seen the need. Either way, I don't see it adding or minusing anything out of the effort that I need to put into to be able to get to wherever I need to be.
True. Makes sense.
But otherwise, pia mi niko fiti. Glad we crossed over to 2024. Hoping to keep that fire burning.
Yeah, I'm also hoping, especially for actually things like this podcast, because I think I would like to believe that it's one of the goals that we have for 2024. Just keeping on what we are doing, being consistent, churning out more content, and we are hoping that we'll just bring you guys along as we go.
It is for me.
So, so I'm sure by the time we get to December, I am really hoping that as we keep on with the consistency and just, bringing just giving out our audience good content every other time, I'm sure we shall have grown quite a lot by then, by December of this year. So I'm actually looking forward to that. So that is I'm actually telling you one of the goals that is actually a shared goal that we have, because of course, we're in this together. So
inamaanisha itakuwa plus 54 episodes if all goes well.
Actually, if all goes well, because the idea is just one episode per week. If all goes well, then we shall be, because right now we are at, I think, episode 22. So 22 plus 54.
Is it 22? And najua tuko na stock mahali or something of that sort.
Yeah, this should be 22. This, or rather 23. I'm not sure. I'm not quite sure. But by December we should be somewhere at 70 something there, 76. That's if we actually don't because unajua tunaweza fika hapo June tuseme tunafaa tuko ama audience pia idai we kungoja every Friday ama every Saturday once a week, bana. We need a lot more. So if the audience actually demands that we give them more, then sisi ni akina nani bana?
Who are we? To review.
Because hatuwezi kata.
Very true. I think it's whatever we're saying. See what happens, but at the back of your mind, you already know what you need to deliver.
Exactly.
So if anything, it's just adding more fuel to the fire, but already we know how whatever we need to do.
For sure.
Sasa niambie.
So leo bana tunaongelelea social media. We just want to look at social media. We'll just look at its evolution kidogo, see how where we've come from, and where we are right now, and probably even the future of social media, and how social media has actually impacted our lives. I'm sure we can all agree there are so many benefits that we have all gotten from social media, across all industries by the way, and in the same breath there are still quite a bit of, let me call them, I don't want to call them disadvantages, that there are some downsides to social media. So we shall also try and look at those kidogo. We hope it's going to be a very interesting discussion as we
delve into it, and I think it will be, and you'll notice it's sort of I wouldn't say it's slightly different from whatever topics we've been handling, because the topics we've been handling have mostly been addressing the individual.
Yes, exactly.
But with that said, I think it is difficult for any individual to operate today without the knowledge of the existence of social media. So I think this is today it's not about building that perfect being that we've been talking about, but it's about the knowledge of the environment that you're in, which also by proxy ama by extension helps to build that person, because your awareness again puts you at a better place or at a disadvantage. So either way, we're still building. It's just that it might not. It's slightly abstract from how it's been, right? So tuambie kidogo, what is this? This animal that's.
I'm actually trying to think. The first time that
you interacted with social media.
The first time that I interacted with social media. And I know guys will do maths here, but it's okay. I was in high school. Yes, and at that time, guys were talking about, there's this thing called Facebook. Actually, it was Facebook at first. I know MySpace was there before Facebook and whatnot, but I actually didn't get to interact with MySpace, and there are others that were there.
I think there was that other figure something. There was MySpace.
Yeah.
Then there came G. I think there was also Mocospace.
Yes.
Something of that
sort. There were a bit of.
And even before MySpace and Mocospace, I think, I don't know if, did Reddit come first? I don't know.
I'm not sure about that, to be honest.
Okay, yeah, that's
so. And then guys were talking about Facebook. I'm on Facebook. I sent you a friend request. So it's like, what is this? And then me, I am one of those people that, by that, believe it or not, I rarely go with the hard. So even if there's this hype around a certain product, a certain idea, a certain whatever, I will rarely jump into
that ship.
Yeah, that ship and just go with the bandwagon. Yeah, I rarely do that. So it took me quite a bit of time before I actually even decided to go and open an account and check out what these guys are talking about. But eventually I did. And yeah, so I opened a Facebook account. I don't even know whether it's still there because nearly tumia for some time and then ukayacha and then you forget about it. Other things come up.
You're saying you're not part of the largest population in the world.
I am. Funny enough, I have an account. But it's just recently that I've sort of tried to revive my presence on Facebook, because right now, and I'm sure even for a lot of people, I'm not sure, but for me, Facebook wasn't like my go-to platform. Yes, at first it was, but then with the advent of social Instagram and what other platforms are there, Twitter and all these, somehow I paid a lot more attention to these others, and then I sort of like Facebook nikaisahau kidogo. So yes, that was high school. Facebook hizo ni zile time Facebook ilikuwa na kale kanini ka kupukwa say. I don't know if you remember. Is it still there, baby? Okay, I know you don't use Facebook that much, but yeah,
poke friends.
Yeah, poke friends. You poke someone.
Then receive a notification.
Someone poked you back.
You want?
But that was then. So I'm sure even my millennials. Wait, we actually, I'm a Gen. Watu wamezaliwa ma 2008 Gen Zs. I'm sure even Gen Zs.
That's actually after Gen Z. There's a letter after Gen Z. I don't know. They have that different name. Gen Z naishia sijui 202.
But I think there's also Alpha, if I'm not wrong.
That's Alpha. Yeah. That's the name I was looking for.
Yeah.
So 2000s.
So hao najua wanasikia story ya poking wanashindwa.
What are we talking about?
But yes, MySpace, all those things. Yeah, but
wanasikia Facebook and you're like, what do you mean? What do you mean? Still on Facebook?
Yeah, I know.
But even as a fact, it's still the most used social media platform.
It's funny by the
That's very interesting.
Yeah.
I thought it was bypassed.
I also thought the same thing. I also thought the same thing because and I think it's that bias that we have where because you that is the you don't use it. You don't use it. You're thinking everyone else is not using who is on Facebook by the like everyone else is on Instagram, TikTok, all these other platforms. But when they run the numbers, you're like, wow, this many people still use Facebook, as in it's actually the most popular platform, most used platform. So yeah,
I remember for me now to share my experience on social media. I did not get social media when it was introduced. So as in it was, of course, for me it was also back in high school, and a lot of people are coming around and they're like, hey, do you know this? Are you on this? I remember that's the question you'd be asked. Uko MySpace. That's the one I remember vividly. Uko MySpace. I'm like, what is that? I think up on the what is even that? Because I don't get it. And even after just seeing what people were doing on their computers with the social media pages and whatnot, I still did not get it. Hey, I have a friend who has responded to my chat. I'm like, yo, what are you doing? Why are you chatting with? I didn't get it. For the longest time, I did not get social media at all. So MySpace came in. Moco Space came in. I remember there was a third social media application that came in and died before Facebook. Yeah, there's a third one. I've forgotten.
If someone there remembers, please
if you can remember, in the comments. Don't worry, we won't calculate your ages. But I remember it came in, and then came Facebook. Then I was like, doesn't make sense to me, but let me just join. So for me, social media, I would log into Facebook to just now share chats with, mostly it was family for me, because me, your idea, friends that I have never seen was something new to me, as in interacting with someone you've never seen face to face. I'm like, uko na confidence, how do you even say hello to someone you've never seen before? So I'd post pictures, I'd share chats with family. So on Facebook, I think had that functionality where you'd see who's online, right? I think it was the first application that you'd see who's, no, it wasn't the first, the others had, but you'd see who's online, then you'd be like, hiya, uko hapa, what's up, how's it been, and all that. So that now was the experience that now made it make sense to me, the value or how social media can get you closer to your friends, closer to your family, and all that. So hapo ndio nilikuwa, okay, I get it. If it's communicating and whatnot, then I can do that.
I'm actually surprised that you're saying you are going to Facebook to share, pictures and connect with family, because I have never seen your pictures on I know you're quite active on Instagram, and I rarely see pictures of you there, so I'm surprised that you're sharing pictures back then.
Back then, the thing is, I take a lot of pictures, but I do not like sharing them. Back then, I used to post pictures. I used to post a lot of pictures.
Is the account still there?
I believe it is. I don't access it. So
maybe we might just go and check it out, see the pictures that are there.
Unaweza ona kakijana kakiwa kameisha. Kabla tufike mahali tumefika sasa unajua.
By the way, there are pictures that I used to post there, and if you look at them, you're like, if you compare to like right now, utashtuka uko like, well, say, this is like night and day. But I think, like you've mentioned there, one of the things that ilifanya face hizo apps zikaanza like ku-excite was, say, it's that aspect of just people being able to connect with each other. Because me remember, after tumefunga shule, ukienda home, of course una log in Facebook, and then at that time we didn't even have there wasn't WhatsApp, all these things.
Oh yeah, very true. I think it's important that we mention that back then, if you minus social media from existence back in those days, the only other way was you needed to send a text message, you needed to send an email, or you needed to send like a physical message. How do they call it? You needed to send a PO box to get in touch with someone who's far off. And if you think about someone who's outside the country, it's almost impossible. Utaanzaje kumaster tena PO box ya mse ati sijui in New Janda.
It take like so long before the letter gets to them. They respond.
You're like,
so I think social media, with that, it was able to connect people who are far. Even if you had a cousin who is in the States, you're able like to connect with them, like, and then like you're saying, you could see someone is online, so you could chat, you could, do things like that. So it felt like like namse hapa.
It brought it really cut down on the communication time. Because ukiangalia I don't know if it was the same for you. For me, before I get to a phone, probably I had to wait for my mom to come in the evening for me to be able to send a message.
Because we actually didn't even have phones back then.
Uko na simu kama nani? Kwa really tycoon. Alafu text messages, that's a limited resource because a message is a bob. Na hiyo kitambo kupatata airtime ambao, my friend.
It was a struggle by the way.
Don't even get started with not the PO box messages, because before you buy stamps, before you buy an envelope, before you buy your writing paper, it was too expensive. Then now you get to a situation where you have all this information with you that now Githinji is online. Whatever you say, he will see it. Yeah. So ni yeye amue kama atajibu ama atajibu. Hakuna ati ile wait time ya message.
And back then, watu hawakuanga na hii like nini wako nao squeezy where you like text someone is online, they're not responding. They can see, they probably even read the message, but they're not. Back then, because it was something new and everyone was very excited about it.
Yeah.
Someone would
kulikuwa na ile rush ya correspond,
and we would actually crave someone just to text us, someone to send us an inbox or something like that. So huko ati na story ati adu na consider kujibu right immediately, just answer and then things like that. But yeah, and I think what you've said about connecting people, and I think that is their, if I'm not wrong, that is their mission number, their
okay. Why? I don't think that's the mission, but
that is what they say is it's connecting people. Because I think I've had Mark say that quite a bit, that the reason why he started Facebook, the other things
he's doing people. A lot more, but you can say he's connecting people.
But we can agree they actually managed to connect people.
They have bridged that gap immensely. Yes. That today, if you think about the cost, the opportunity, let's just say the amount of time they have reduced as far as communication is concerned is immeasurable. Ukicompare ile time yenye sisi tunaongea, that's about 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50 X years ago.
100 years
ago. If you compare back then and now, the amount of money that has been saved in communication is just immeasurable. Same for time, same for as in the effort, because now I can just with my phone, of course, and I know I was saying that social media, you'd have to just share a message, but you also needed a computer. Back then, devices weren't able to even connect to the internet, so they have done a lot to minimize the effort required to communicate. And I think that's one of the values that I'd say it's a beautiful time to be alive.
So you've said in that sentence, I think I can just point out there's just connectivity, just connecting people. There's communication. You've said it has like reduced the time that it used to take for people to communicate, the effort as well, and even the resources in terms of money and whatever. So on that case, I think one of the zile vitu zimekuwa affected kabisa is how news spreads by the how information spreads. Because initially, if you remember, before even social media came along, you had to wait till 7 p.m. for you to like know what is happening around the country, around the world. But now, you don't even have to wait.
Yeah, I remember as in zile mambo za Olympics. If you weren't watching them on telly, on probably a subscribed service or something, or on a paid subscription, you had to wait for the news. 7 p.m. Ndio muende mpige story kuihusu
and kesho. If you miss the 7 p.m, you have to wait for
9 p.m.
And if you miss hiyo kesho yake, when people are talking about the news za jana, you just una float to hapo.
It wasn't even a matter of floating. You'd be like, wait, you are not watching the news? Wait a minute. As in it was unfathomable that there's someone who was alive and wasn't paying attention to the news, because that's where all the information was coming from. That everyone would, I'm assuming by the when I think about it in my mind, I'm assuming that ilikuwa ikifika to 7 a.m, people would literally tune into either telly or radio to listen to what has happened or what has transpired within the world and within the country. That is how information was being passed. That in doses. If you compare it with now,
and it was very controlled, as in it's just the legacy media. That is how you'd get your news. That is the stations kina KTN and TV.
KTN and TV. Ukiwa umemiss hizo, better kimbilia gazeti asubuhi na mapema so that you don't miss whatever information is. And that's not just in the general sense, because remember there still used to be the what do we call them, the very specific news outlet. I don't want to call them outlet, but I'm talking about for the various professions. You'd also have your own type of news. Like for example, for IT, that'd be an IT journal that's published once every month that now gives you insights on what right. As in, to imagine that information IT ilikuwa inareleasiwa once a month, that hey, you're reading now Bluetooth is at 3.0.
And not everyone had access to that.
Not everyone.
Because of course that I'm sure it cost quite a bit.
It cost
something
a lot.
That to once a month, it cost a lot.
It cost a lot, because I remember for me, news IT, I wasn't receiving them until I got to campus.
Imagine.
Until I got to campus and into a library. Wow. So anywhere outside, there's nothing you're hearing about IT. Yeah. So you need any information, and the library nani ndo uzipate. Before now they moved now to www and all that, right? Yeah. So
but it's interesting because hata venye tumesema hiyo story ya news, I remember there was a time, I think I was in primary school ama I don't know, and then back then tulikuwa tunapenda resource. Sijui kanye mlikuwa mnawatch resource, WWE, kina SmackDown na kina Stone Cold Steve Austin, The Rock. You don't remember those guys? You don't watch those people? You didn't watch those guys?
Do you smell?
Oh yes, what The Rock is cooking. So I remember, I think Ressa used to come on Tuesdays, if I'm not wrong. And then it so happened that this one day, and then sunakumbuka kitambo ilikuwa guys mna watch, and then the following day mkienda class, that is all. Hey, did you see mliona Undertaker, The Rock nini?
So kuna msewing alikuwa nyuma uliona tu vile.
So me this particular day, I don't know what happened. I didn't watch your wrestle. And then your day kulikuwa na fight ya alikuwa ni Big Show na I think Brock Lesnar, if I'm not wrong. That fight was so major, and then these guys had never fought. Like ni wale ma OG. Unasikianga tu wako huku but hawajai pigana. But ni ma OG. So this particular day they fought. As in, that fight was so serious that wali like hadi ring ilianguka like ikatokana.
I remember something of that sort.
I missed that fight. The following day, manze, I think that story guys talked about it for like a whole month. Manze, sijaona ring imeanguka, fight ilikuwa moto. And then cause hakuna like social media, hakuna anything, you cannot access that anywhere. Actually nilikuja kuachio hiyo fight juzi. Like that thing nimecarry for sijui how many years, just wondering how this fight and what happened, because it's just eyewitness testimony that you're hearing. That fight. I've never seen a fight like that in my whole life. Hey, so by the way, for I think the younger generation, sai just join him kwa tu sawa, because kitambo ungemiss show
back then.
Ni hivyo ati hata episode ya sijui Prison Break ama nini ama whichever umeimiss tu KTN hivi. Ni hivyo, like wewe sahau your story, you're done, just
ato lala ati sijui pate ikisha.
Ni hivyo.
Alafu for me, okay, see for quite a bit I remember we didn't have electricity in our home. So me nilikuwa gago kajama chingi vitu.
Kaya ulikuwa na survive aje? Mwenye mtu alikuwa nasikia vibaya. The following day guys, that is all we'll talk about.
I remember kwanza the first time I experienced mambo, it was back then when they had just started this soap opera things in Kenya, the telenovela. The first one was called Esmeralda, and I remember ilikuwa class 2. I hadn't watched it. So what happened is, I had seen like the last 5 minutes, because after class you just get home, unalala, then unaamka, eat supper, do homework, then go back to sleep. Ilikuwa actually the last day I watched the 5 minutes, then we started your duration ya kukosa stima kwa nyumba. So as in the one chance I had to have that discussion ya nimewatch Esmeralda nikuwe na gangster points. najua nasema gangster point but ni soap opera. But back then everyone was talking about it. I remember we were young enough not to know that this is girlish or this is right. And I remember I got the name wrong. I called it Esmeralda. Ha! Unajua zile mistakes zenye mpaka leo unaamka unaza alikuwa ni I know. So yeah, as in back then without social media, it just as in it was bursts of information. It wasn't as in, right now if you tell me something, tuseme like you tell me, did you watch the final episode of Breaking Bad? I can actually just open my phone, read through, or even just watch the highlights.
Yeah, true.
And I'll be like, sasa ndio kitu unaniambia. Like if information is everywhere. And back to now all the other areas that we didn't have access to back then. Sai just with social media itself, without talking about any other platforms or any other sources of information, there's a lot you can get from there, because now all organizations, all brands are just sharing whatever they can on social media. Because like new advancements in technology, kuna mtu ametaja kakitu kuhusu Twitter. Twitter is probably exploding about it. Instagram or even TikTok and all the rest. As in today, it's not unheard of. It's not unheard of to just meet someone who has probably spent the entirety of their life without watching the news.
It's true, by the
way.
I can tell you by the for a fact, even personally, although nowadays nakuanga too interested, I'll just go maybe watch it for like niangalie two highlights and then the first 5 minutes, 10 minutes, the rest in ibo. But it's not really something that nitaifanya. Like how kitambo it was religious. You had to news
catching it, and you have to sit down and be quiet because information.
You can't start talking. What do you mean? Your folks would be like, just nyamaza baby.
Mwekeni nyuma kiti. What?
No. So it was like that. But now, I think hata hiyo nini, the fact that information now is like everywhere, and we are not like solely dependent on, let me call them the legacy media.
Or even broadcasting channels.
Yes. We're not dependent on them. Right on now, yes, you can get information from everywhere. And I think hiyo imefanya pia venye tunasema like over dependence on them imekuwa chini. And for those who, because I remember if those who were slow to actually adapt to social media ama to embrace social media is wakina the broadcasters naweza sema walikuwa affected somehow, because if unajua kuna wale watu walikuwa na this is the thing we know it's we news ni 7 na 9, social media hizi ni vitu za, because I think back then the businesses walikuwa wanachukulia social media is it's just like
a fad.
It's a fad, and then it's just something that the youth are using for just communicating.
Realize that you don't need it.
Exactly. So they actually didn't think that it
seriously would as it needed to.
Exactly. So those guys who did not take it as seriously back then, and right now is when they are realizing, oh, by the way, everyone is on social media. If you want to actually grow our audience, if you want to reach more people, yes, we may have still our our traditional ways of disseminating information, but we still need to adopt this other for us to even reach that demographic down there. We need to actually embrace this new way of actually just spreading information. Getting the information out there. So but that said, there has also been kumekuwa na a bit of a downside, let me call it a downside, to that, because initially for news to equal aired and TV ama KTN, of course they have journalists, and I'm sure there are editors there who are going through the news that is going to be aired. So like kulikuwa na hiyo like checks and balances. Hizo checks zote to make sure that whatever we are airing is factual. It's not just something that we just, airing. But right now, with social media and everyone just spreading the news, it's very difficult to know which is true and which is not true. Which means, okay, basically the information that you're consuming, you have to be very careful because yes, it's very easy right now to
consume fake news.
Yes, let us just call it fake news.
Yeah, I agree with that, and I think it's as we were talking, you had mentioned some of the benefits that social media had come in. I think now that falls under some of the disadvantages that came in with this new thing that we're calling social media. That because information is no longer
let's say centralized at ECG. If you want to get information, this is the one particular source that you can get it from. And back then we knew this was a reliable source because those guys, we assume they're very responsible.
And we assume they're very accountable. Yes, I like that you're outlining that we assume.
Yes.
Which is also
because at the end of the day, they also care about, because if it turns out that the information that they are spreading is false, then someone might maybe go to court, and then they might face litigations and whatever, things like those. So it will affect them at the end of the day. If you're told you need to pay.
Oh, that's the check and the balance.
It's like, I don't know if you had, like last year when Fox were
they were sued for misinformation.
Yes, and they were asked to pay
was it 50 billion?
No, I think it was around 800 and something million dollars. It was a lot of money, but if you convert it to Kenyan shillings, inakuja mabillion kadhaa. So it was a lot by there. You can imagine that is money that can actually bankrupt an organization. It's a lot. Even if they're still there, it didn't bankrupt them. That is
organized payment.
Yes, of course you can't just pay that in one mini. So you see, and I think that's what we are saying, that yes, information now is readily available, but you have to be very careful.
Not all the information is reliable.
Yes,
but it's easy to be misled.
Yes,
it's easier to be misled than it was before.
Yeah,
because at least kitambo kulikuwa na some level of, let me call it, I don't want to say kulikuwa na due diligence. There was some level of due diligence.
Yeah.
But today, if I create my own narrative and I just push it with the right amount of effort.
Exactly. If you push it, it could be false, but if you push it with the right amount of effort, it
can be the wildfire.
Yes. And if people hear something over and over again, see, there's that need that they start thinking that it's the truth.
It's the truth. Very true.
Yes. So I think that would be like maybe a disadvantage of it all. But yeah, I think overall it has been, when it comes to the spread of information, how fast information is getting to people,
we are better placed. We are
better placed. I think even when we're talking about information, spreading to people, getting to people, there's also that aspect of, I don't know if you remember around the 2010, 2011, 12 there, the Arab, what was it called? The Arab Spring or something like that. You remember when Egypt started demonstrations and then they...
Oh, yes.
It led to, I think it was President Mubarak, I'm not sure.
I remember who was, let me say, I don't want to say, okay.
You can say supposedly he was, because we probably don't have
because we don't have the correct information.
We do not want to.
Yes. I'm so scared to. I've seen what people do when whatever you've said is distasteful to them, probably as a country or something of that sort. As an embassy, they'll issue a letter and they will say, we witnessed with distaste as OG himself and Aaron Mumule.
So we're just basing whatever we're talking about on,
whatever information was
shared.
But yes.
But that movement, I think it was in Egypt. There was Morocco, Tunisia, all these countries, the Arab countries, and one of the, because I remember especially in Egypt, one of the guys that like the leader, the person when you all organize those demonstrations, those when asked, I remember it was on CNN, when asked how did you get to like
rally so many people?
Yeah, and I remember the guy saying, I want to thank Facebook, I want to thank Mark Zuckerberg. So at that time people realized, what? So like
social
media has this much power, like to cause such a such a movement.
Yeah. And I remember wacha to address hizi zenye tunaweza atakiwa, let's address wacha tuende. I remember even Barack Obama, he also said that one of the ways he was able to rally so many people and rally so much support for his campaign and leading to his election was that he relied a lot, and his team relied a lot on social media. That he was able to recruit youngsters who really knew how to just pass the information on social media. So that's why if you look at his first run as when he was trying to get to be president, a lot of his team was a lot of young people, young, energetic, when you walikuwa, even before tuseme they're going for a rally somewhere, before they get there, they've done a lot on social whatever, they've done it on social media, and by the time they get there, they have this young crowd that is very energetic, and at least wamesway now the other generations. So when I say the other generations, I mean the Gen Xers and whatnot, to just at least get them to build on popularity and build on receiving whatever information they need to share. So as in it, whatever social media has done in general, I think there are a lot of benefits, but again, kuna hizo now the disadvantages. And I know we've mentioned that false news is one of them, and I think the other that probably we were also discussing before this episode. Now there was the portion on addiction, yeah.
Oh yes, addiction. And this one, cause especially right now, because we've had Facebook, we've had Instagram, Twitter.
We've had, yes, and if you look at how the social media platforms are coming up, when you look at MySpace, getting to Facebook, although you cannot easily say that they copied one from each other, a lot of what Facebook was doing was built on information and knowledge of what MySpace had done. So now, after Facebook, we had Twitter. There was another one. I'm trying to remember. Before Twitter, there was another one that I keep on forgetting that just disappeared. Twitter and leading to the other platforms. Now we have TikTok, kina nani. If you look at however they've built, it's now with the information of the predecessor social media platform. So they're building onto. And if you look at what I'm trying to say, if you look at now Facebook and all that, they were social media platforms that were really trying to grab our attention, right? True. That once you get into Facebook, it tries to get a hold of you for as long as you can. So it has only gotten better, and it will only get better, right? As far as grabbing our attention is concerned. Because if you look at me, probably if I was someone who was spending 10 minutes on Facebook back then when it was fresh off, right now, if I get into Facebook, I don't think I can go lower than 10 minutes. It could only be 45 or an hour. And that's just Facebook, who have perfected their craft. There are a lot more platforms that have built on the learnings of whatever Facebook has done in general. That sahi ukiingia, my friend, it's nothing less than 2 hours. It's nothing less.
Speak for yourself. But there's actually, I think, a study that was done, and I came across it as I was reading a book here called Atomic Habits. They were saying that on average, people spend at least 2 hours, as in 2 hours, minimum.
At least 2 hours.
2 hours.
At least. Yeah. Me, I don't. The reason I'm very openly saying it is because I've experienced.
And for guys like it's you can do like 6 minimum.
Chronic user. The chronic. Anaitwa serial offenders.
So I think on that aspect of addiction, because like you're saying, they are only getting better in terms of
getting a hold of
getting a hold of us,
working with your dopamine, working with your adrenaline, just ensuring Girinji amefika hapa. Let us pull all the levers to maintain.
And I know
this
by the way, it's funny because there are times that maybe you can just say to yourself, let me just watch TikTok videos for like just 5 minutes. You can even just 5 minutes or just 5 minutes. But then that thing, I don't know. It's like you get lost in the app. By the time you realize, if you had logged in at 8 p.m., it's now 12. 12:30.
It's very intentional.
And you're wondering, Kai.
It's very intentional. Look at their videos.
How did I get here?
Ukiangalia, let's even use TikTok as an example. They know that for Girinji as an individual, you of course have your goals, you have your targets, you have your objectives.
Yeah.
And one of the ways you meter your goals, your targets, your objectives is by keeping track of how much time and how much resource you've spent.
Yeah.
When you're in TikTok, hapo jua huwezi ona how much, what is the time.
Yeah.
When the next video comes out, you can't see how much time is this video. All you can do is scroll back and forth for you to be able to see how long that video is.
But I've never thought about it like that. Especially on TikTok, you can't tell how long this video is.
It's not just TikTok, it's every single one of them. And if they haven't done it, they're getting to that point. Take YouTube as well. YouTube, for example, back then, the things that we'd consider important, and I'll do a callback on. I'll do a reference. Let me reference one of the videos that MKBHD has done. That if you look at what YouTube has done on the new interface, there's a lot of information that we used to value that they have taken out. Like you'd see likes, you'd see dislikes, right?
Yeah.
You'd see how long ago this video was published.
Yeah.
To more or less build a sense of how valuable is this information to me, because I know you don't want to watch a video that's 9 years old unless you are intentionally looking for it.
Yeah.
Try to do it on your telly right now. Uniambie if you'll be able to collect that information. I haven't
even noticed by the...
You will. There's a lot of effort that's been put to ensure that this information is blurry so that you just hang around. Okay, in general.
What I saw was the likes, because nowadays you can't like...
Okay, likes and dislikes. There's also a lot of more information that, of course, YouTube had shared. Wakisema that this is the major reason. There was that aspect of people were using it to publicly hate on people. So you would understand that. But it's also difficult to also just see that ati waliitoa because of, I don't think ati walitoa tu ati oh, you know, we saw you and we were like, we don't want you to be hated in public. No, but yes, that's, let me say, it's also my hypothesis. Please don't add me, don't come at me, but those are some of the things that they are doing to also just keep you for as long as possible. I'm telling you, pale kama hauna time and hauna...
And all these guys, like, they're all, like, trying really hard because, you know, they're competing actually against each other. Facebook wants you to, like, stay on Facebook. They don't want you to go to TikTok. YouTube wants you to stay there. So they are, like you're saying, they will try as much as possible to make sure that the minute you get in there,
umekwama huko. Have you tried YouTube Shorts?
Such a funny thing. I remember there's a time we talked about it. And then you said, of late I've found myself getting lost in YouTube Shorts. I tried it. Maybe like, I don't know, like 3-4 hours later, you're like, what am I doing by the...
This is the funny thing is, you're like, what do they have next?
Yeah.
So it's all an effort, which now I think brings the, I don't want to call it the worst of us, but now that aspect of addiction comes up, because now you become very tied to it, that utakaa mahali useme aya leo sijaingia YouTube, hata leo sijaingia TikTok, then you're like, let me get in. Unaingia unachinja 6 hours.
I know. And like it's very hard, like, you know, for you to just spend like even 10 minutes without you checking your phone. Like, I
have really tried. For me, I rely a lot on notifications because part of my work, so I have really tried to cut down on notifications. So as in on my phone, YouTube, I'll say no notifications. Nini, I'll say no notifications. So that whatever is coming in, wacha iwe mambo either ya familia ama ya because I'm telling you, I used to be as in
and every kosa notification every 5 minutes. Instagram, there's notification, someone has liked your photo. TikTok, YouTube, someone has uploaded a video. WhatsApp, sijui nani has texted you. As in,
alafu the level of clickbait that was coming in. Tuseme, for example, the area I see a lot of clickbait is Snapchat. Ka notification kamekuja, alafu ukienda ku-open, okay, it's a video on Snap, yeah? It's a play video, right? Then ukiangalia, it's like, you won't believe what he did. Alafu, because of hapo kagania kamoja, you're spending 4 hours on that platform, just... I decided that. Because those are the things that just inakumaliza ukotuza you won't believe what
you won't believe what President Ruto said about you won't believe what
then unapata tu ilikuwa tu public address ya kawaida tu
by the but yeah, like you're saying, one your addiction image. And I'm certain quite a number of people are, you know, struggling with it. Because again, this organization, some of these social media people have really invested heavily in you know, just capturing our attention. But funny, there's an nini that I came across a trick of how to like avoid, you know, I'm to limit
it from Atomic Habits.
Yeah, actually, it's from Atomic Habits, by the way. So the guy, actually, the author of Atomic Habits, James Clear, was saying, as he was writing the book, as he was working on the book, he anaweza kufocus like every minute he's just looking at his phone, notifications, things like that, social media. So he told his assistant to change his passwords for all the social media apps every Monday morning. So she'd change all of them, and then he won't be able to log in for the whole week, and then he can work on his book, focus, everything. And then on Friday evening she gives him the passwords, and then Saturday, Sunday he can do whatever he wants on those social media apps. He can catch up with all the content, and then Monday morning she changes the passwords again. So he says that helped him quite a bit in as far as just being focused, and he was able to finish the book. Because again, you can also imagine when you're writing a book, by the way, it takes a lot by the way from you. So if every minute you're just distracted and things like that, and that's why you'll hear others, they go to some cabin somewhere, some in some island somewhere, in some forest, and then they just stay there for like a month or a few months. So yeah, I think by that I actually found that to be very interesting. Although I'm not sure how many of us would actually be willing to do that. To a whole week, Monday to Friday, bila social media. It's possible, but for
is it though? Because although we are presenting social media as this terrible problem that we're having,
I think the problem that we have is the addiction the addiction. Because again, call back to a topic that we had on time management. We said that, for you, if you have these goals that you have, and these goals will require you to invest quite a bit of time on them, then you cannot have so many distractions around. So if it's,
you can't afford to,
yes,
as in utajipata tu umejitoa.
Yeah.
So now it's a query of is your addiction stronger than your need to achieve your goal? But again, for some people that question isn't very easy to answer.
Yes.
Because again, although we might have different wills, your will might be stronger than mine. As in, just because I'm pulled towards social media more than I feel the need to deliver on my goals, doesn't mean I want my goals any less.
Right? And if you look at it, social media, it's like we are saying, it's an addiction. It's not that it's something that you, in a sense, it's like you're not in control of that.
In a sense, yeah.
Yes.
That's
so, like we're saying, the intention was, for example, to go and watch one video for 5 minutes, and then you find that has spiraled to 5 hours
6
without,
7
yeah.
videos.
So
me, Paka, I'm telling you, it gets to a point. My report usually get the weekly reports of your usage. Patanga ka notification, you have increased TikTok usage by 700%.
Actually, you don't have that. You need to show me how to do that so that I can also monitor how.
I'll show.
Yeah.
You'll be depressed. Ukiambiwa hapo, you have increased your usage by 700% this week.
Yeah.
And you're like, ananiambia as if it's a good thing.
Yeah.
But it's very true that probably might not be able to control.
And for example, let's take example. Yeah, I have an exam next week, so of course I need to study. Sindio, I know I need to study, because if I study and then I pass those exams, they will maybe help me get to another goal that I have in mind. Yeah? So this is important to me, studying, but I will find myself just spending quite a bit of time on social media. Like you're saying, it's not as if the importance that I've placed on these goals is any less. It's just that it's a lot easier for me to log in into social media and just than to actually just
And now that calls to now the if you know that probably your will isn't as strong as you want it to be, then probably you can try to increase the obstacles or increase the effort required for you to now have access to the social media that you're now saying.
Yes.
Is that okay? That also makes
and
sense.
that aspect of obstacles, it's the same as the one that James Clear is talking about.
I wanted to ask a question around the addiction. Do you think it's mostly about addiction, or is it that we are looking for somewhere to let me use the term numb the pain in quotes? Because think about ngoa social media off the picture. What do you have? Okay, ngoa social media. Tuseme tu Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, nini, all that
YouTube.
Zimengolewa. What do you have? You still have Givenchy in a country mwenye anaambiwa that NSSF ndio inaenda ku rise percentage, NHIF ndio itakuwa SHIF.
Oh, okay. So you're saying that we are sort of using social media as
an to escape, as an escape.
For example, the realities, maybe the harsh realities of maybe the world that we live in.
The reality is harsh, so you're
like, okay, I just need to go and just have a few minutes of just relaxing, forget everything else that is going on.
Exactly. So I'd liken social media to back then for us, if without social media, what we had were TVs and radios.
Yeah.
That after work you've probably your, let me call it venting, the escape was watching telly, probably watching your favorite show.
Yeah.
Actually, it wasn't watching your favorite show. It was watching
just
whatever
watching
was
telly, watching whatever was on. And especially if that time you only had KBC, because back then, if you didn't have multiple channels, it was just KBC.
I'm telling
and then
you.
funny enough, back then, do you know KBC? Ikifika at some point usiku, you could always watch the whole night. Ikifika 11 or 12,
then
inakuwa
ilikuwa
hiyo the whole night hadi asubuhi.
Ni kama alikuwa anazima alafu
anazima. So
wewe tukiambia watu wataamini kweli huku ndio tumetoka.
Hey baby. Hey, yeah, cool. Yeah, baby. But I remember, because I remember there's one time
blues pink.
Hata ilikuwa na red. Sisi yetu ilikuwa tu black and white. Yeah, so me remember at one point I used to hear that ikifika, because as kids you're wondering what happens
usiku. It used to be 11:45 p.m.
You're wondering what happens past usiku when you guys are asleep.
Watu wanawatching nini?
Watu wanawatching nini. So unaambiwa like inazimwa. So I think at one point I actually waited. Let me by there just see. Sijui 11:40 something. Ni keki ama ni whatever.
Si ilikuwa kanatokea hivyo. Alafu ni zile makato TV so nakasikia tu na kamwasha hizo line zote.
But yeah, we've come from far, to be honest.
Ati mpaka it's gotten to a point where you can just binge.
Yes. You can actually unaweza anza kuwatch kutoka 6 jioni. 6 asubuhi like ifike mwangaza inatokea
and you like, haven't repeated any content.
Yes. There's too much content. Like by then you can't even like watch everything. The amount of content that is there, even now when you log into Netflix, you're confused because you're like, guy, you spend like kwanza 30 minutes trying to decide what should I watch. So it's actually even easier to ask you. So I'll ask you, hey, Bede, what are you watching currently? And then I'll use that referral to just come in, just select what I want to watch. But right now you'll just have the choices, as in there's actually that thing called the paradox of choice, as in there's the choices are so many, you're even confused. So you
paralysis of
you actually experience that by the so at the end of the day. But anyway, I think to that point where you're saying that maybe we've gotten to that point
we
where
need it to be as good as it is now for us to be able to escape our reality, because now that leads to also a conversation on how will social media morph into the future, because of course this is not the end.
True.
This is not the end goal.
True.
Lazima kuna mahali itafika yenye actually hakuna mahali itafika, it will keep on morphing to whatever now probably the society. I'd like to think that we are the ones who brought it to where it is now. I don't know,
but it's interesting because like you're saying, we are here and we're just comparing it to like 10-20 years back, and we're just looking at the milestones
10,
that
20,
we've made.
30.
Yes, 40, 50. So you're like, and right now, even as you're talking about things like augmented reality, virtual reality, as in it's, we are going there. I'm sure in a few years, and I'm sure like it may advance to a certain level. We are like, what? But what I wanted to ask is, even as we are saying that it's sort of like a safe haven from the harsh realities of the world that we're living in. Do you think that it also, as you're going there to just enjoy yourself, you might end up feeling I don't want to use the word depressed at the end of the day, because, and I'm sure you've had this, you've read articles about this, even documentaries where social media is really like, because unaenda kwa, like you're saying, you're escaping reality, the realities of your harsh life, ama life venye imekwenda vibaya. But when you go there, unapata Instagram, like, hey, everyone else seems like to be enjoying life. Sijui watu wako Diani, watu wako sijui ma shopping, sijui happy. So you're like, hey, kweli, Like
ni vitu ndio nateseka, ni vitu ndio NSSF inanicharaza.
Watu wana complain life ni hard, guys are buying motis over here, they are, you know, just traveling and things like that. I don't know.
I think it is a result that of course as a result of, okay, in general, out of any addiction, there is that high that you will ride on, that you at some point have to get off. Now that delta between the highs and now you're getting off that high, lazima kutakuwa na I don't want to sound like I'm saying this is how people feel, but kuna kuka, you're like, now I have to, first of all, kuna hiyo, now I have to get back to my reality, and number two, there's that exactly what you're saying, that just by going to social media and seeing vile watu wanaomoka, you get depressed because again, wait a minute, tulianza life hapa na Githinji, mbona yeye ameomoka, mbona yeye amepanda mpaka mandege, na mimi niko hapa hata stories za nduthi ndio tunapigia. Right? So kuna the twofold of it, that when you're in there, just by see, and I think that is that has been attributed mostly to Instagram, right?
Yeah.
That it now again there's some research online and all that information that it has been leading to depression, because automatically I will follow, or I will be friends with my peers or the people, my friends, my family and all that. And if my friends and my family wanapiga tu mapicha zenye ni pristine, sa hiyo mimi niko kwa katululu. Unaona, as in mtu anapiga picha yenye unaangalia uko za as in unawekewa pressure. But what I would say to that is, of course it's automatic. If your thought process is whatever I'm seeing is real, you'd of course be utakuwa nako ka,
it will actually affect you.
It will affect you,
and like you're saying, it might actually even lead to depression, things like that.
It might or will lead to depression. But what I like to do whenever I'm on social media is just let me entertain myself. That for me, that's what I do. I'll be like, I'm going to social media to entertain myself. So for me, I haven't gotten to a point where I'm like, manze umsiana ameenda sana, mbona ameniacha. I'll be like, I'm entertaining myself. So kama ni Githinji leo ameamua kunichapia suti sijui yenye iko na 12 pieces, na kila piece imecraftiwa na his a designer. That's fine. Sure, Githinji leo imeenda shule. True. Right? Kama leo amekamna ndege, I'll be like, sure, Githinji leo ni interesting. Unaona? So as in, there's that detachment that I'm saying, okay, he's presenting himself to me. It's probably, I don't know what effort you've put to be able to bring that 12-piece suit. I know 12-piece, but right. So it helps with now that thought that nikubaya. That's how it helps me. Then on the other aspect of now getting off of social media, that's for me, that's a trickier challenge than ile I'm seeing watu wameomoka. That you will still have to come back and face reality. So the mindset is, what is the real reason you're going to social media? If for real ni kuhepa mashida, then nikaa tu pombe.
True, true. At the end of the day, you'll get back to
NSSF. Na probably umetumia pesa za NSSF kununua data. So
but
I don't know how
it actually makes sense. But I think of the two problems, you know, the issue that maybe you have the addiction, I think it's I would consider it less of a problem compared to the one where once you log in, these things are affecting you. Like they're actually affecting you. You're seeing all these posts. Everyone seems like they're having the time of their lives, and it's really, really getting to you. And like we are saying, it might end up affecting your mental health or even lead to depression and things like that. So, and call back to an episode where we talked about self-awareness. So for me personally, I am very, very much aware when it comes to social media. I know that people are just showing you the best side of their lives, and that is like 1%. 99% of their lives, they're also struggling with the NSSF and all these other things. But they will. I can't come here and start showing people when do you take a picture? When you're actually very well dressed. When, for example, you've gone for an event.
Record? Yes, immediately tumeamka before
I'm joking. So as in, I will take a picture when I'm out. I know that I've dressed
when the odds are with me, not when they're against me.
When the odds are with me.
Mwenye anamkaga tu na selfie.
Yes, I will never do that. I will never wake up, just take a selfie, post it on
how, then you're like,
I will never do that. So if the viewers out there, the people who are interacting with social media, once you realize that this is just like a very, very small part of this person's life that I'm seeing, and the rest of the life maybe does not, is not reflected by what I'm seeing here, then you realize, hakuna kitu ya kuworry hapa. Why should I even bother?
Why should I
so
bother?
For example, if I go to, let's say our company takes us to Villa Rosa Kempinski. Never been there by there, to be honest. So if I go there, it's a nice setup, everything, nice place. Of course, I will.
Easy networking event.
I will be tempted to take a photo. I'll take a photo.
Exactly.
Several photos, and then I post it on my Instagram.
Hapo unahakikisha umepiga show na hizo.
Exactly. I'll take like a full album.
Unapea watu pressure. Nasema leo na waua.
Yeah, so someone looking at that thing, a peer or a colleague will be like, wow, this is where he's going, like nowadays. And then they're just piling pressure on themselves.
No, alafu the worst bit is sasa umechukua stock ya like 6 months.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
Every 2 weeks.
Every 2 weeks. But you...
mi bado na save kwenda ya kwanza na ameenda ya tatu, guy.
And the same thing when for example, we even, we used to go to Mombasa, the company would, would go to Mombasa for like 2-3 days. That's like you're saying, you will stock your picture from mkiwa kwa SGR, mkiwa sijui wapi,
from January to May.
Kila siku tu ni. So someone looking at you is wondering, wow, this guy is living the life. But that is like 2 days.
3 days.
Yeah, in a year. The rest of the 360 days I'm struggling out here. I'm suffering, and you're just
unaovatekiana kwa nduvi. Sasa amekupea pressure na maflight.
Just maybe it's even the company that paid the flight for me.
Maflight, Masandi beaches.
Masandi beaches. Easy. So for me, I am very grateful that I have gotten to that level of self-awareness that yeah, I know this is not a reflection of this person's life. This is not how their life is from January to December, day 1 to day 365. So once you know that, once you are able to detach yourself from that, then
even if they are, then it's okay.
Yeah, and even if they are, so
if what? It's the 365 days.
Yeah, it's fine. It's okay.
Ni maisha yake.
Yeah, so I think just realizing that we all kila mtu kwa jani yake, race yake. Me, I won't like jiweka pressure juu ya some celeb out there, sijui naona kina Diana Bahati, sijui they are buying each other Benzes every other day. So I'm like, hey, this pressure is just no. Relax.
It's our Q3 anniversary.
Yeah, it's our quarter 3.
You won't believe
what he got me. It's a new Benz, and then he had just gotten him an Audi the previous quarter. And that Audi, she's not even using it. Now she has another
alishika Q1, Q2 na Q3,
Q4. In between there are also surprises. A trip to Dubai, a trip to the Maldives. You'll die, my friend. Just relax.
Die. I agree.
I
agree 100%. So what do you think the future of social media will be now that we've gone to in-depth to the goods and the evils of social media?
I think
and I know that's a general question.
I know
as well,
but I'm just trying to imagine, because if I ask you, for example, 10, 15, 20, 30 years, ago, if you asked anyone this question that you're asking me right now, hakuna mtu angesema
this
is where I would be.
No one would.
Yes.
No one would. The truth is, some people would, because if you look at the movies, some of the movies that are being published during that time, they were talking about this level of connectivity.
Yeah.
So to some abstract level, they would be able to say easier communication, easier
faster communication.
But hakuna mtu ange pinpoint that social media would be an
like a very integral part of our lives. Like say like kila mtu ni social media by the I really I'd be hard pressed to find someone who is in one way or another not interacting with social media. You like even right now before we got to the set you are still checking your and so but the future what comes to mind is probably maybe I'd be interested to see where we will get with augmented reality and virtual reality and this whatever Mark Zuckerberg is working on with Meta. What is it called?
That's I think that's augmented reality, right?
It's augmented and the virtual reality but
metaverse.
The metaverse, I'd be very interested to see where that would be in like 10, 20 years from now. And I'm sure there will still be a lot of innovation that maybe right now we cannot envision.
Can't fathom.
Yeah. But for me those are the areas that I'd be very interested.
I don't know. For me, tech wise, of course, augmented AR, VR, definitely. Especially because now other big players are have gotten into the space. I remember initially it was just kina Google who are really trying to push AR, VR. But now with Apple in and all that, of course there will be a lot of noise there. Let me just say noise, or a lot of people will be swayed towards that direction because of course once Apple does something, whether you like it or not, a lot of waves are made. So tech wise, yes, I think there's still a lot that will happen, not just with physical hardware and whatever advancements are happening, but I'm thinking they'll also be a lot smarter on how they grasp our attention.
For sure.
Terribly, terribly so. That it'll only get better. So our addictions will only get worse. I know that's a dark statement to put,
but it's true. As in, it's a reality that we have to face. We are facing it right now. So
So now it will be upon us to more or less figure out how you can operate in this, I'll call them really trying situations, because kama saa hii TikTok iko na this level of grasp, and that algorithm, my friend, I always talk about those algorithms. They've done a lot to ensure that you stay there. Give them 10 years, what do you think will happen?
Imagine.
And not just what they will do in 10 years, think about the next social media that is coming in. Because Facebook was a lot better, was doing a lot more than what MySpace was doing. and it brought a lot more people into the social media space.
Yeah.
So did the next social media application that came in. I remember now, I'd like to think of Vines as also a social media platform that now probably led to TikTok.
Yeah.
What about the next one that's coming in? What do you think it will do, right? So it'll only for us who are thinking about what it speaks to addiction, what it speaks to mental health, what it speaks to on what other detriment had we mentioned? I'm trying to remember, but all those detriments, I could only see it getting worse.
Yeah.
But I don't think it'll stop at that. There are also the advantages that we mentioned, that hey, we can communicate a lot faster. We are a lot closer. We are more of a global village than we've ever been before. So it'll only get closer. So now it will be a matter of what can be done faster than it was before, because they really chopped down on how much time it takes to do ABC. It'll only get better on those fronts, right?
True.
Yeah, that's what I think.
I think that has been a very interesting conversation, but I also think we sort of like did not talk about the maybe the like what we are doing. This equal like podcasting.
This is also social media.
Social media, because we're actually doing this because we know there is an audience out there that is going to consume, and we are hoping they will get hooked by.
Pia si tunataka kuweka, so pia we are also feeding that beast. So if they thought they could finish all the YouTube videos today, there's another hour added. Because it's interesting because social media has really morphed into something very general, very wide, and something very integral. As in imekuwa, it's imegro. It's something that now you cannot live without. You cannot live without. Then you can't. Hawezi kaa tu na uikose. As long as you're living anywhere, as long as you're interacting with people, you will interact with social media in some way.
True. And not just for individual people, not just for individuals, even corporates, businesses out there, because even things very like marketing right now, if people are not just marketing on the legacy media, Kina NTV, Citizen,
very true,
whatever. They are spending quite a bit on social media.
And they also now have their own presence on social media, trying to interact with people. And again, those are discussions that we also haven't mentioned. That what does it mean for an organization's or a corporate's presence in the same space as individuals? Because for me and you, sisi tunaweza sema we can interact, what's the term, we can interact as in tunaweza interact as human beings, right? But when you add a corporate, an organization, let me even pick the largest, Coca-Cola. So imagine wewe Coca-Cola inakudm, what does that mean? Unaona that changes the dynamic, because my interaction with you is is I don't know how to put it, but there's a lot to be said about now what social media is today from how it was before. Because back then you wouldn't see corporates, you wouldn't see organization on social media. It would just be CC tunabishana if it's Twitter, we're sharing pictures if it's Instagram, if it's Facebook, we're all saying hi to our grandma. No, I'm joking. I'm joking, but we're all saying hi to our friends and all that. But now organizations have also gotten into the space, and now they're also trying to make their own there's a term for it. I'm trying to remember now. It's not getting back to me. Trying to represent themselves as individuals and hoping that you can interact with it. You see, a lot is happening in summary. And just the topic on social media, I don't think we've covered everything.
We actually can't. we just one sitting. We actually cannot manage to do that. We've just tried to cover what we
in general.
Yeah,
in general, and we haven't pinned any specific information on the same. So probably next time, if we want, we can now have the dates that, hey, MySpace died at this point, and the advancements that MySpace had were ABC, right? And whatnot, to just also see how we also influenced the advancements in the space, because people stopped using MySpace because it either had or didn't have some of the things, and they started using Facebook, and people have gotten to use TikTok because it either had or didn't have some functionalities.
True.
Or now we are using all three because they're feeding into whatever needs we have, right? Oh, okay.
So I think that's all we had time for. But if there's something maybe you feel that maybe we could have talked about a bit more, then just let us know in the comments below. Yeah, we really do appreciate your feedback. Please
keep at it, and as always, keep on subscribing, keep on sharing, keep on liking the videos. We really enjoy the interactions, guys. So until next time, deuces. What tumaliza ni
record
uongo ilikufa. No, acha jokes.
It's a prank.
Wewe anafanya tu change facial expressions and recording. Nani anaofunza
hadi venye tunasema
mpaka tunaanza kulegea. Huyu anafanya what the hell? Now